folks, it's been a while. Not much has changed, but things are crazy in Leafland. We're going to break it all down for you right here.
You're in the offensive zone, your place for Leafs hockey.
Hey folks, welcome to the OZone. That's Coach. That's KD. I'm the Devo, and you know what? We're here to talk all things Leafs. We're going to get right on into it. So, it's been a while since we predicted the last game against the Canucks. 3 games, 2 losses, a lot of goals. KD, what'd you see?
Well, based on last night's game, I guess we have to give a shout out to Wayne Simmonds. You know, this is pretty nice tribute last night. I thought it was pretty good. A good show by Leaf Nation, and you know, if you're a pro athlete and you're able to play 1,000 games in any sport, it's a great achievement. But to do it in the NHL is something, and then to do it at the physicality that Wayne Simmonds did it at is awesome. So here's a salute to a real warrior, a guy who put his body on the line for 1,000 games. Here's to you. Here. And that's pretty much it. I have mostly negative stuff to talk about, but I'm pleased with the offense and pleased with Wayne's efforts. So we'll let you take it from there.
All right, Coach, what happened?
Hey, Kev, before you take this train to negative town, let me just say I'm going to keep it positive here. I have to. My head's on a swivel. I'm sitting here in Boston, belly of the beast. And I'm going to talk about my feelings in a second, but here's things I like. I like that we didn't do one of these after the Vancouver game. The sky was falling then, right? And it was horrendous, and we blew a lead, and it was Saturday night. Look, we've, according to everyone, including us, played terrible since the 1st of February, right? Well, we're 9-6-1 in that time period. We're okay. I also would give Kyle Dubas some credit for that Nick Ritchie trade. The getting rid of Ritchie on its own with nothing back would have been great, but Ilya Lyubushkin has been solid. I kind of half wonder what he might be like with Riley. So that's been a good trade for us. Good for him to get something back of value. And I like that both goaltenders haven't quit. They continue to battle, right? So I think off the top, Devo, you said we were lost 2 of our last 3. We've actually won the last 2, right? We're 2-1 in our last 3. So even though we're giving up 4 or 5 a game, we're battling. But I did say I want to talk about our feelings. Now, I'm like everybody. The way you're supposed to handle your feelings is if you get something, you push it back down, right? You smash it down and you suppress it as best you can. I think Dr. Phil taught me that.
Stick it in here.
But every once in a while, as a Leaf fan, sometimes some bubble to the surface. I've been a Leaf fan since 1968. I am aware of the significance of that date. But every once in a while, you get a glimmer of hope. You have like an actual real feeling of hope. Here's one in 1976. This is Daryl Sittler, 10-point game. I felt great about the Leafs that game. I watched that game as a young kid at home. The Doug Gilmour era, 91 to 94, arguably the second best player on the planet at that time. Loved watching him. This is him with the double overtime goal, the spinorama against St. Louis. Fantastic, right?
Yep.
More recently, so from about 2006 onward, I played beer league hockey with this guy, Kevin McLeod, nicknamed Marv, which is a marvelous nickname. He played at Cornell. He actually didn't play all that much for a variety of reasons, but he was a terrific pro in limited time. He spent 3 years in the CHL. And then he went and he played actually against Freddie Anderson in the Denmark League. So why I bring him up is this. He is by far the best player in our beer league. He started with us in his early 30s. He does 2 or 3 times a game. He does something. We just stop marveling and we just sit there and look at each other on the bench and laugh our asses off. He's so much better than everyone else. It's a great feeling. And I'm getting that feeling now with Austin Matthews. What a genuine pleasure it is to watch this guy play. Is he the best player on the planet? He may very well be.
Yeah.
He's 24 years old, guys. Scored 36 in his goals in his last 37 games. He's on a 63 goal pace. Of his 43 goals, 12 have come to give us the lead, 6 to tie the game, 6 game winners. He scored in 29 of 54 games. Unbelievable pleasure. That line is great, but he is something special, guys. I'm cherishing watching him in this low angst period because we'll get to the angst in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's coming.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm with you, Coach. Listen, they continue to give up a ton of goals. There's no question about it. Lots of grade A chances against. That's bad on the team. Not a ton of saves, and that's sort of bad on the goalies. As for the good, there's no question in my mind that the Leafs in the NHL have the best line going with Matthews, Marner, and Bunting. I don't think it can be objectively argued. This isn't just through blue-colored glasses. There's no question. 34 is going to win the Hart and the Rocket if he keeps this up. Sheturkin, I'm not going to fumble it like KD did the other day.
Yeah, too late.
He's the only real threat here, and I'm not going to go too deep on this, but the invasion of Ukraine I think actually probably hurts his chances there. But I'm going to digress because I don't want to go there. The third line that they have right now, the way they're playing, is the best third line that the Leafs have had probably since
Kent Manderville.
Zezel was playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Builder
so
Lego.
that's fantastic. I absolutely love the way that 47 and 65 are playing. It's so great to watch. Every time they tilt the ice, and 47's got a little bit of nasty in him, which has slowly been coming out, and I think that helps the team as well. The D hasn't been great. The second line hasn't been great. The fourth line hasn't been great either. And they either haven't been great or not productive or flat out a liability, and that's something to watch. Coach, what didn't you like over the last little run?
Well, look, Kev's going to take us to negative town. The goaltending hasn't been good. It hasn't been good enough. But I've been saying for a long time, and I still agree, that the defense isn't good enough either. The good news is every seemingly single point shot gets tipped and goes in. That can't sustain. None of them went in for Campbell early. Now they're all going in. It's going to balance out. But look, our D isn't good enough. I've been saying it for a while, and now it's not just me. Here's Carlo Koliakovo. He says here in his tweet, right, this is after the Vancouver game. This is about Campbell. No doubt he's struggling. Look at the goals, though. They're all net front goals. Leaf D-men are getting out-battled. If you want to make life easy in front of the net, then you could have Vasilevsky in there. Doesn't matter. Goals will go in. So he's saying that's what needs to be fixed. Dave Poulin. I think it's more about the D in front of the goaltending. I don't know if Dave Poulin's an expert like me and Carlo Koliakovo, but at least he agrees. That's why I'm giving him a little airtime. Here's a tweet. Here's a text I sent you guys, and I was recapping the goals, of the Vancouver game. One from the hash marks when Liljegren lost his guy, 2 tips, and 1 off Brody's skate. This guy, Campbell, can't catch a break, and then Mitch Marner loses his stick, and he kicks one right to the guy between the hash marks. Yes, we need a save. Yes. Obviously, I don't like giving up more than 4 a game. But I believe that's going to sort itself out, and I think we'll get back to somewhere in between, which may be good enough.
Somewhere in between, yeah, it's a good point. Listen, a lot of shots were tipped before back in November and December when we were, at a 960 save percentage, but things are just going in. Katie, what about you? What didn't you like?
Okay, so I usually rip on the forwards, and Coach usually rips on the D. I'm going to point out something here, which is a structural thing, which is actually from the coach. And one thing I would love to see them change. We'll put up this pic here if you can see it. This is generally what happens every time the puck goes in the end, and this is actually end up being the first goal that was scored last night. If you take a look at the weak side winner, it is there. with the Leafs, it is their job to go right into the slot. You can see right here, Robertson is right in the slot. That's actually where he is supposed to be. The Leafs are very disciplined in this. They are going right to that spot all the time, but it's too deep. And if you take a look at the distance there, it's somewhere between, that's got to be 17 to 25 feet away from the winger, or from the defenseman. And if we talk about the D not boxing out enough, we're talking about the forwards doing all this stuff, not back checking, or the center's not taking the right guy. If we want to reduce the amount of shots on net, the wingers have to be further out. The Leafs are blessed with a team, a forward group, especially the wingers that are fast. One of the fastest forward groups in the league. I'm not sure why we play such a defensive zone in our own end. If you take a look at the picture here again, Coach will talk about these question marks. Why is there no D in front of the net? Why is Liljegren the last guy off the boards? Why is Riley up high off the boards? Those are all issues I don't want to get to. They're all problems, yes. But had Robertson been further out on his D-man, that puck doesn't even get through. They probably don't even go to him to take the shot. And you do that to help protect the D. You cover the points to protect the D in front. They don't have to be as physical. There's not as many shots to get through. But also on the cycle, if the D are always open, if you're a cycling forward on the other team, your D are always open. So when you're struggling, you pass it back to the D and he's always open. Faster teams should never play zone. They should always play man in any sport. You should always play man-to-man coverage if you have an advantage on speed. So I'd like to see the wingers push out a little bit, and I think it would save a lot of the problems. But that's it for me today.
Okay. Coach, listen, what didn't you like?
Well, I think we covered that, right? Should we predict next game?
Yeah, we're on the predictions.
Listen, folks, we're going to lay it on the line here. We're going to do what we always do. Leafs host the Yotes. Then we go to Buffalo for a home game, I'll say. These are both winnable games. KD, what do you think?
Well, KD will be in the building tomorrow. So I predict that I will be well imbibed. Nice. And this time, instead of prediction, I am demanding a victory over the Coyotes. So we'll see that. I predict a recovery win over Buffalo, but I demand a victory tomorrow night.
Okay, Coach, what are you saying?
All right, couple things. A few games ago, I said, look, these next 6 are winnable. We're going to go 5-1. Then we lost to Vancouver right off the hop. But we're still on track for 5-1. I say we're getting this next one to stay on schedule. There's no room for error anymore. So I'm saying 6-2 versus Arizona. We'll take this home. And I also predict I'm going to listen to more games on the radio. Because on my flight here to Boston, I had to listen to that game, Monday night's game on the radio, Columbus. And Joe Bone and Jim Ralph are fantastic. Here's a little exchange. Austin Matthews scores his first goal against Columbus. And Bowen says, Ralphie, I will bet you one crisp $50 bill that Austin Matthews scores 50 this year. Without missing a beat, Ralphie says, Joe, all of your bills are crisp because you don't use them. Fantastic. I got to listen more.
That's as good as it gets. Listen, I hate to say this, folks, but I'm going to agree with Coach, which means bet the opposite.
Oh.
Leafs are going to beat both teams by 6-3. 91 is going to get 2 goals over that span, and so is 47. If there are hockey gods, if we've been praying to them and they're actually hockey gods, those 2 guys actually deserve to score some goals because they've been the best players on the ice the last few games. Other than Austin Matthews, but he doesn't need help scoring goals. There you have it, folks. You heard it right here. The only place you need to get your Leafs information from. Hit subscribe, hit like, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next time right here on the OZone.